please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Where Are They Now? Today we're going to talk about iilluminaughtii, and this one's going to be a bit odd, because we have to wait a little to see if Oz produces anything courtesy of mediation. But what I thought we'd do is have a look at a couple of the videos she did release in 2024 before she stopped entirely, and then go to the videos that I have done on Oz Media, who has talked about the legal case, mediation, settlements, failings, mostly iilluminaughtee's failings. Now, in the year of 2024, before stopping uploading entirely, iilluminaughtii released 5 videos. After the controversy in 2023, that destroyed her channel anyway, she had been uploading quite a bit upon returning, and this led to many believing that she was doing it to appease her sponsors, but also to continue to pay her employees while claiming she also was earning nothing at the same time. With her fingers in pies away from YouTube, it's unlikely she's bankrupt or broke, but it was likely with the views going down, with the sponsors being appeased, apparently, it was likely she was going to have to introduce further cutbacks. And at this stage, it's unlikely anyone works for her now. Bear in mind here, she has not uploaded in 8 months. Usually, typically, for a YouTube channel to be inactive for more than 6 months, you are removed from the partner program. And if we take a look at Social Blade, rewatchability is out of the window, which means any passive income is null and void. Most creators get very busy in October, November and December, because cha-ching if you get the ads. Well, if you're monetized and get the ads. In iilluminaughtee's case, there is no cha-ching here. So of the 5 videos, I'm going to quickly show you the like-dislike because it's important. And then we're going to go to one of them. As you can see from each video in turn, no, people aren't on her side. Now, is that, before we even get into a video, because of the subject matter in the video? Well, we're going to work that out, because we're low effort here, and we need something to sink our teeth into. So we're going to go to the very first one, concerning Jenny Craig. We might even look at the last one, just for the bants.
Does anyone else remember those old 90s and early 2000s commercials about Jenny Craig? 2 of their heavily featured spokeswomen were Valerie Bertinelli and Kirstie Alley. It felt like I saw those ads everywhere, honestly. The commercials were pretty standard, saying that you could lose weight while still eating the foods you love. Basically what any weight loss company promises. One of them featuring Kirstie is blunt, to put it mildly. She's on a phone calling 1800 Jenny 20, saying that she's calling in regards to being fat before she tells the camera, hey, you're chubby too, let's lose weight together.
Ordinarily when it comes to reviewing a video on this channel, I like to look at the comments as well to gauge the response of the people. But in all uploads, she's turned the sodding comments off, which is a shame really, because I would love to see how many people actually commented on the subject matter of fad diets. Because that's what they are, and at the time of Jenny Craig existing, in the earlier days of the 90s, yeah, it was a fad. It was popular to create community in this way. It's why Weight Watchers and Slimmer World, whatever it's called, still exist, because these kind of things intrigue people. It's why the mukbangers I follow who do weight loss journeys try out every diet on the planet and fail, because it's all about lifestyle choice. And so these are a bit of a scam. But based on the like to dislike, I can imagine not many people care about the subject. They still want to hold you accountable, but are no longer able to because you've turned those comments off. Which is a shame, but it is your channel, you're well within your right to do that. This level of sensitivity, though, does make it harder to gauge the response of the public, only infer what I believe to be the truth of it. As in, they don't care about the subject, they just want to flay you, because your credibility is shot. But you're contractually obligated to upload content.
Jenny Craig pushed the message that you can eat whatever you want and lose weight fast. Look, it doesn't take much to realize that, yeah, they were probably being a bit deceptive about these results. Exaggerating is practically the name of the game when it comes to supplements, weight loss, and products such as these. However, about a decade ago, it wasn't the FTC or FDA or whatever regulatory body you can imagine that came knocking on Jenny Craig's door. It was actually one of their biggest competitors, Weight Watchers.
Now, all of this is quite fascinating, really, when it comes to how competitor weight loss companies or any competitor company interacts with, well, their competitors. If you're not honest from the offset, of course you've got problems. The only things I knew about Jenny Craig was that it started in 1985. I knew about it because of my mother, basically. I knew about Nesli buying it out. I knew about it being revived as an e-store last year. I knew that Shane Dawson had done a video with some Jenny Craig employees who then got fired. The script for that sketch then got sold to one of those networks, NBC or something. I knew about this. When it comes to intellectual honesty, do try to imagine my shock that a company isn't honest. Certainly ones from the 90s, based on today's standards of scrutiny, where WebMD solves everything. Now, as far as videos go, the subject matter itself isn't contentious. It's a normal, standard Illuminaughtii pointing out what could possibly be a scam video, right? Delving into it, giving insight where insight is required. No one cares though, Illuminaughtii. Not one person in the online space cares. Because the videos can be sound, they can be brilliantly presented. Of course they can. But you have a problem called Blair. There was always a chance that with Blair being occupied with a legal case, with Oz and Felix, Wonder, there was always a chance that Blair could give up much of the being in the videos to somebody else, so that the brand of Illuminaughtii could in fact continue, because the integrity is therefore not compromised, because Blair is. That was an option. I'm surprised that wasn't exhausted or explored fully. Now I will show you one clip from the last video she produced, and then we're going to go through the 2 videos I released this year concerning Oz Media and the ongoing legal battle that Oz was having to deal with.
Sports betting isn't a new concept. Hey, I bet you $10 the red team will beat the blue team. That kind of betting has probably gone on since the beginning of sports itself. However, in the US, sports betting has a lengthy and complicated history. Without getting too deep into a dusty textbook, here's the summary.
Yeah, you don't need to. See, that's another thing that Illuminaughtii's really sunk into now. Whereas before Christmas of last year, some of the political conversations had surfaced. This is very much history. Basically, Illuminaughtii's become more of a history channel for scams, as opposed to addressing more modern day things, which can be argued to be a good idea, but based on the viewership of these videos, no, the reward was not there. The hard work did not pay off. Therefore, Illuminaughtii stopped. It was no longer feasible from somebody making tens of thousands a month to going down to maybe 1,000 a month to continue down this path. With that out of the way, I'm going to play clips from the 2 videos I released this year from Oz Media concerning the ongoing legal battles with Illuminaughtii. We're going to talk about Illuminaughtii. We have to. Because while she's busy lol-suiting others, she herself is getting into trouble. Because she keeps effing around, so of course she's going to keep finding out. While she is suing other creators and trying to cause them a world of trouble, which I keenly await the outcome of, she herself has gotten into trouble, legally. Oh no, what a shame. In my last video, a Where Are They Now on Illuminaughtii, I showed the Social Blade numbers, and I'm tempted to do it now just to demonstrate how those glorious numbers are just continuing to nosedive. Maybe later. So Madcatster has acquired, if you're not already, you should subscribe to the Madcatster YouTube channel. The guy gets a hold of all the legal stuff, and I'm quite jealous this guy has the ability to do that, because he managed to raise awareness to the fact that Blair, aka Illuminaughtii, owes tax. We can insert the obligatory taxation as theft if you'd like, but it turns out Blair's owed tax for 2 years. 2 separate years anyway, and it's over $20,000. It gets worse really, but we'll get to why in a moment. This will go so far as to explain why she's been trying to make Oz Media's life an absolute hell, why she thinks she can seek damages, because if she got any, it would pay her taxes off, because there's no way a GoFundMe would work for her now, nor would any kind of fundraiser on YouTube, because if she did one solely to pay off her taxes, people would tell her, get a job. I'll tell you, get a sodding job. Why? Because you've lost your career. At present, there is an ongoing trial with Oz Media. Oz Media, being transparent, has decided to make a video on the 1st of June 2024 titled Dear Illuminaughtii, posted to Oz Media's channel, 67 minutes long. Oz Media goes through everything we need to know, showing us, telling us everything that has transpired and what is going to happen next. Oz Media though starts with a rather interesting point, that if Illuminaughtii does want to watch the video, she can simply skip to the outro part.
Blair, if you or your lawyers are watching this, I implore you to at least watch the outro, preferably before June 7th.
Because there's something there for her. Because we know, courtesy of Madcatster, a lot of the legal side hasn't been going her way. She's had to make multiple changes and amendments to her claims to try and get this before a judge in a court, because she's falsely reported things, she's misrepresented bits, she's not properly filed the things, all the usual legal gubbins that I don't understand but Mad Catster does. So essentially, iilluminaughtii is wasting money and time. We know this, it has been demonstrably proven true. So it should come as no surprise, Oz Media is going to offer an olive branch, hence the title. This olive branch though comes with consequences, and I think they should be explored. And if iilluminaughtii can get off a high horse long enough, she should give them some serious consideration. I want to play a couple bits from Oz's video that I think are important to acknowledge and go through that offer, because I want to share this with the class. And I'll link the full video in the pinned comment down below.
We're here right now because Blair, owner of Pyramid Entertainment LLC, or better known as her public YouTube personality iilluminaughtii, is currently in the process of suing me, as well as other prior employees for defamation and other claims.
Much of which has in fact been debunked. One of her core arguments concerns NDAs, and then when she amended her original claims, she shifted to anecdotal evidence. Nothing more.
I will actively be showing all and any evidence related to dismantling her claims against me, as well as the other parties she's involved in this misplaced legal crusade of hers. My lawyer is aware I'm doing this.
The fact that Oz Media is compiling, and going to be compiling more in fact, videos on this, with everything, all receipts and all that transparency, I like a lot. I like that this is being sent to her legal team, that it can in fact be used in the courtroom as his testimony and evidence, in fact. I'm not too familiar with the goings-on in a courtroom when it comes to using YouTube videos, but I do recall seeing them used in the past for fair use. Certainly Aquila, obviously, and Sargon of Akkad. Beyond that, this feels kind of fresh. I like it.
Of the amount donated, GoFundMe takes a fee with each donation. This can be seen on screen here with this nice little chart breakdown they provide. At this point in time, which more information can be found as an update in the original GoFundMe, this lawsuit has cost over $40,000. I've been posting all of my legal invoices for full transparency, and more will be posted soon. The redacted information within them is information subject to attorney-client privilege, which also spells out my current legal strategy. This would be foolish to allow Blair's legal team access. This is why the redactions are as heavy as they are, as they include itemized lists of my lawyer's actions throughout the case's initial proceedings.
This level of openness and transparency is vitally important, especially if you're going to tell the online space. You want to share with the online space what you're doing, but not give away too much, because then Blair will try and find, or her team will try and find, a way to circumvent it. Then again, if this has cost Oz Media 40 grand, I can't imagine this has been overly cheap for Blair either. If she owns multiple properties, I can imagine at least one of them has been heavily mortgaged. A pointless endeavour that will yield no real positive outcome for her.
Because I'm exhausted with the, in my opinion, legal shenanigans Blair is currently pulling, this video exists. Blair's actions are the reason we are here. If you would like a full breakdown of every court filing to date, I would recommend YouTuber Mad Catster. That being said, I have no issue, hesitations, or fears in connection to proceeding with this lawsuit. I am confident in the direction things are going, and I just want to offer a path to end this before we're stuck in this for years on end. This will be further explored in the outro.
Now, I have heavily cut that down, of course I have. I apologise to Oz Media for that. A reduced version, simplified, is typically what I try and do anyway. It is vitally important to acknowledge that everything that Mad Catster has shown, some of which he very kindly sent my way and I have covered on this channel, quite clearly shows how desperate Blair is because she has had to repeatedly amend her claims. Repeatedly. The judge wanted to throw it all out because of how pointless and futile her case is, and will always be. It is great that a new GoFundMe has been set to help everyone else involved, except for Blair, of course, because then that means others are going to be helped. And of course, all of those that are affected then posting their invoices to show they're not embezzling this. They're not committing some kind of keffels here. Fraud, for those who don't know. I am going to skip over the timeline because I have covered a fair amount of what has been discussed in this video on this channel. I am going to link Mad Catster's in the pinned comment as well as this video though, because I do think you should have an equally analytical mind as well as an opinion-based mind. So that being analytical for Mad Catster, opinion, and factual from that of Oz Media, linked down below. Highly recommend you go and watch all of that, and Oz's video as well. So we can skip to the outro because I am very interested to know what the offer is.
Here we are. The outro per se. As I mentioned earlier, I'm making Blair an offer, publicly, to put an end to this. Because of this, however, this does mean that for the next month, I'm on the hook for my own legal bills, and as of today, this is going to be a rough month, as this one's out of pocket, so it looks like it's the mini-wheats diet for me.
Of a near $20,000 goal, currently it sits at $16,000 raised. A fantastic amount, and I of course hope that it continues to grow. Shortly after discussing that, Oz mentions a bereavement within his family, with his partner. I'm really sorry for your loss. I'm not going to play that part. The word should come from you. So everyone should go to that channel and listen to that instead. But it is a compounding stress factor added as to why this offer even exists. And rightfully so. I hope Blair listens, though. She's not done very well in the past at that.
My settlement to you, Blair, would allow you to follow the morals that your channel has advocated for. Or, in your words, be dedicated to upholding your channel's values and delivering on your commitments. Or, as this handy video you uploaded a week before you sent out cease and desist states.
When something as horrible as this happens, people always come out and admit fault and tell the horrifying truth of their continued negligence and malpractice, right? Yeah, you're right, that never happens. What am I thinking? Instead, they usually do their best to hide everything and blame anyone but themselves, and wouldn't you know it, that's exactly what happened here too.
I'm somewhat surprised Blair hasn't removed that video from YouTube yet. It's hardly getting any additional passive views right now, and her content is all but deceased in potential. So let's get to the settlement offer. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm kind of braced, actually.
My settlement offer is for you to drop the lawsuit, for all parties involved. Even Wonder, with prejudice.
With prejudice would guarantee, in writing in legal text, that iilluminaughtii Blair would never ever try to sue anyone she has raised concerns about. Any of the defendants. All of them with prejudice. Giving them freedom from her cruelty.
I won't file counterclaims and would no longer be required to upload the second part to this video. And what do you get? A chance to prove your side of the story, or even take accountability for your actions. If you proceed with this lawsuit, by the time that it's done, especially with what's left of the judge's order, there would be no platform for you to return to, as you still need to answer for not just me, but for everyone else you've harmed on this platform. It would be difficult to return to a platform with a label that you hypocritically participated in the very business tactics that you've reported to be in opposition of for the past 4 years.
So Blair had made it quite clear she wasn't going to do that on YouTube. That was back when this all dropped. She made it quite clear that she was going to pursue the legal route because she believed that would be the correct way of handling this. I, back then, disagreed with that. If there was enough evidence to prove her side of the story, it would have been better in the court of public opinion and to protect the integrity of her channel had she come out all guns blazing with all the facts on her side. But she didn't. Her arrogance has undone her, but also the fact that she is clearly not in the right. The judge's orders that we have covered here are not on her side. She's running out of time. The judge wanted to dismiss all of this anyway. She's not done herself any favours, and if the threat of a part 2 is there, it would be right to consider stepping back, licking your wounds, and trying to rebuild or doing something else with your life. As I've said before, you may want to get used to saying the following. Would you like fries with that?
I'm offering you a chance to clear your name on a third-party neutral platform. Think of it as a conversation. Rather than use the corporate tactic of bullying those who speak out against you, why not prove you're different from them? You've previously stated that you feel as though you dumb down your language too much and you allow people to fill in the gaps that don't actually exist. So, here's your chance. Prove everyone wrong. If you're interested in going the route of proving publicly why you're in the right, to argue for your platform's right to existence, a discussion where all topics would of course need to be known by both parties beforehand.
Now this part's interesting because this would surely appeal to Blair's ego, and simultaneously not. Firstly, and quite rightly, it's worth pointing out that Blair does think of herself as smarter than she really is. That much is evident from the fact she couldn't understand the legal text that she was having to constantly amend out of desperation. The fact she knows her channel is dead, she's suing for defamation, but her channel will never exist properly after, regardless of outcome. So why is she persisting in this? When one is unwilling to admit they are wrong, it comes from a position of pride and arrogance. Pulling in tens of thousands of dollars a month to now barely pulling in a few $100s a month. That is a fall you brought on yourself because you were unwilling to accept you could be wrong. So this offer is an interesting one, and I would love to see this one accepted.
A lawsuit that'll drag on for the next few years will not clear your name like you hope. If anything, it has only further damaged your reputation, Blair, especially because you're suing the two parties who have publicly said the least. And I know you know this. No PR firm in the world could save you if you continue this lawsuit. Even if you did win, from what I've seen, you would just be seen as a bully who abused the legal system.
Even if it feels like a bit of a stretch, to be honest there, I don't see how she could win when she's had to so desperately and quite quickly change so much to get it to stick well enough for a judge to even look at it. But at the same time, you are also quite right. If she won, she'd be showing the kind of privilege she has over others. But with that, no discernible future for her where she could actually prosper, because the internet is not the same as a courtroom.
The rough outline that I'm proposing, and I am open to negotiations on these terms within reason. Plaintiff must dismiss all claims against all parties with prejudice once amicable terms are set forth. Plaintiff and myself will agree on a third party who we both independently trust to host a fair conversation. Their responsibility will be to ensure that each person is not spoken over and is given a chance to clear their mind. Plaintiffs may also take this time to take accountability for their actions instead if they wish.
Can you make this Mad Catsters channel? Cause I can't think of a better person to host it. I would suggest Legal, but I don't think Legal gives so much as one F about this.
Legal fees of either party will not be sought out, and this will be taken for the loss that it is. I can provide no personal guarantee in either circumstance that you, Blair, would be able to repair your public image or reputation. That is up to you. However, I am giving you the opportunity that your lawsuit will most certainly not. I would be open to additional terms being presented within reason. This settlement offer must be accepted, if at all, by a communication in writing delivered to my lawyer not later than the end of office hours June 7th. If my lawyer does not receive a response by the end of office hours on June 7th, I will assume that you've declined this offer, and I will proceed as planned with legal proceedings. We are open to negotiations within reason. I am only giving Blair this settlement offer because of the events which have occurred in my private life. If she declines, so be it. I have no qualms with proceeding with part 2.
Please accept the offer, Blair.
Well, today I'm here to provide a much-needed update, and honestly, I probably should have provided this previously, but there have been a lot of moving parts preventing me from doing so. And, as a general note, the lawsuit, of course, is not over.
Now, the last thing I remember about this was that offers were made to end this, which would lead me to believe then that those offers were not accepted, or unnecessary delays were introduced, and so the offers were then rescinded because of those delays. Good graces, bad faith. I do wonder who's responsible for that. Now, if that is the case, then we waited 4 months for iilluminaughtii to simply accept defeat here, take the L. Many times, the legal case was amended, updated, reapplied, blah blah blah. Nonsense that no one really cares about, because she had to shift the goalposts multiple times. When offers were then made to end this in a meaningful way, we're here. 4 months later. I wonder how that's going to work out for her as well.
Far from it, in fact. I mean, hell, we're not even out of the starting gate and won't begin discovery for another 4 or even 6 months, perhaps honestly longer.
No offense to you, of course, I'm not going to take shots at you, Oz, but how on earth has this dragged out for as long as it has? Considering what we've seen exhausted so far, much of which I've covered in video form on this channel, I would find it hard to believe there are many more options left to explore for just, I don't know, having a nerf war to settle it like adults.
And this is with a year of back and forth legal battle. So you might be asking yourself right now, well, what's been going on with part 2?
If memory serves, part 2 is the follow-up video we were meant to get to the last video, which was quite comprehensive. I didn't actually think that we would require a part 2 because I thought perhaps Blair would be open to accepting the offers on the table at the end of that video. Apparently not.
Here's a quick little timeline of everything that's kind of been going on in the past couple months. Part 1 was released June 1st. Negotiations were attempted, even extended from June 7th to June 14th, but ultimately failed.
This is more than likely because iilluminaughtii genuinely, Blair that is, believes that she's in the right, no one else can be in the right, but also because she needs to be in the right because she has no other money. If she's blowing it all on this to be proven right, even if she's wrong, it's a gamble. Whereas if you settle, no one really gets anything, do they? Yeah, there's no vindication. Although I will stand by what I've said, even if in a court Blair somehow manages to win, she'll never be able to come back to YouTube, so she would rely on a settlement to fund her life, while she gets an alternative job if she hasn't already gotten one. With that in mind, do try to imagine my shock that these didn't work out, considering how reasonable they actually were in the first place.
After they failed, my legal team began the production of my counterclaims. My counterclaims needed an additional extension of time, as my legal team wanted to make sure as many of their I's and T's were dotted and crossed.
You're suing. Oh, I like this. You did say you were going to do it. I'm glad you are doing it. Dear Oz, please win. Thank you. Now, I wanted Oz to countersue anyway, not to drag this out, but because I believed if it was settled, Illuminaughtii would never be held accountable for her own dumb, well, jackassery, her general jackassery, her stupidity, the smug mode in perpetuity that needs to be broken. This has to happen, and hopefully Oz wins that as well. Not because I want to destroy or see Illuminaughtii, Blair, destroyed in the slightest. No, because I want her to be humble, and apparently some people are incapable of this.
Putting this into late July. We needed to add additional parties, pushing it further into August for any hope of a release. On top of this, my counterclaims now needed approval from the judge to add these additional parties to the counterclaims.
Because I'm not a legal expert, and you're adding more to the whole situation, does that mean that Blair's team can appeal that? It wouldn't surprise me. It's just a query that's been gnawing at the back of my mind. Any excuse to inhibit one's ability to exercise their right to appeal, exercise their right to counterclaim. I am curious.
The judge did not accept the counterclaims until around September 28th.
Well, them judges do like to dawdle. You haven't indicated if you had to reapply it because of errors. Either that be because not necessarily pointed out, or because you guys actually did it right the first time, unlike the very person you're suing. Counter-claiming against, sorry. I don't want to be done for misspeaking or peddling false news.
I wanted to ensure that my counterclaims were approved by the judge before speaking publicly on them, which led to the massive delay. I didn't want to be in a position to retract my counterclaims, especially with the sensitive subject matter included within them.
Well, that answers my query then, I guess, doesn't it? I shouldn't have bothered with that bit. No, fair use. I will abide it. My finding this funny aside for a minute, because I do find this entertaining. Of course I do. But I'm also on Oz's side. I've seen enough. We all have. I've put it in video form. We've seen how much of a terrible person Illuminaughtii truly is. But she is ready and willing and able to go onto that hill and commit Sudoku on it. Because apparently that is, in her mind, the best way of dealing with this. When she loses, I hope, when she loses, I'm curious to see how she reacts. Because I can imagine the following word is going to become quite common. Appeal, 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 all the way to the last one, and then keep going if you can, until there's nothing left for you to waste and fritter away.
I also did not want to give Blair an expected release, as I was personally fearful of a gag order. After the judge accepted my counterclaims, and because we were already over a year into the lawsuit, both parties have mutually agreed to reattempt mediation.
Oh, so the money is running out then. The dumb thing here is, you're over a year into it. 4 months ago, mediation was happening, and opportunities were offers were made. You could have actually taken it, Blair, and walked away. You wouldn't have had to admit any guilt or be found guilty yourself, or risk having your own case dismissed, thrown out, or for Oz to be simply found innocent in this of any wrongdoing. But no, all because of this NDA malarkey, eh? This is interesting. Many law YouTubers covered this, and they tend to agree you're not winning this one, Blair. So why bother? Well, they did back then. I don't know if they still agree now. And to be honest, many only paid attention to you because of your dunking on Legal Eagle, which was what caused all this in the first place. Well, caused. Straw, camel's back, broken, that thing.
However, this time, it will be conducted by a third party, which has been scheduled for December 3rd.
I'm somewhat surprised that Blair would willingly secede power or control through mediation to another party, or that it got so clearly poisonous that a third party was required. This is disappointing and amusing, although it does mean in December, if and when you are able to provide an update, there's a chance I'll make a video on it, because this is a fascinating subject. Just in case you, my lovely audience, hello, are unfamiliar with this, I have made a few videos on this channel concerning the YouTuber iilluminaughtii. I'll link them all, and OzMedia's video back in December and his part 1 down in the pinned comment, so you can check it all out, consume the information yourself, and come to your own conclusion, of course. The correct one, by the way, should be I like chocolate. Not you, the audience, me. If you don't get that from the video, I'm not sorry, but now you know. Good.
There'll probably be no major updates until several days after mediation. And if mediation does fail, I will proceed with part 2 as planned.
I don't want mediation to fail, of course not. But because I hope for the best and expect the worst, I keenly await part 2. Again, you set out some reasonable ideas and lines as your settlement, right? Everyone just walk away, done. At this point, you'll all be able to do that, but there'll be nothing to give to each other if one is ordered to. And I don't want you, Oz, to give anything to iilluminaughtii in the first place.
As the judge has accepted my counterclaims, my hope would be this lawsuit can come to a close. Now, while it may not be the favored drama-filled outcome many were expecting, it is worth noting, at least in my opinion, that so far, by the time that mediation does occur, this lawsuit will have cost over $80,000, and we haven't even entered discovery yet, So
Blair's remortgaged her home? Does she have a job on the side, working as a video editor for Mr. Beast? What? Is money coming in from some other avenue that isn't YouTube, because the tens of thousands she was once pulling in sure as feck are not coming in now? I doubt she's monetized anymore, because she hasn't uploaded recently, has she now? Oh, this is interesting now, isn't it? You know who I feel sorry for, excluding Oz? I feel sorry for all the poor employees. Yeah, I've just realized they really got done dirty here.
This very well could cost several more years of my life and hundreds of thousands of dollars down the line. And this is only speaking of me, and not Felix, who I have promised and continued to maintain support and funding of their legal battle against Blair as well. Currently, I have an opportunity to put an end to this, to no longer be required to rely off of the generosity of my audience and anyone who has supported me.
Okay, I may have also forgotten about Felix as well. Now, before we continue with your video, because there's a little bit left to add, I want to quickly address a couple of your comments. Very important ones, I might add. The first one underneath you is, please don't stress about part 2. This isn't drama anymore, it's ABUSE. And actually, there's a point to that. A very good one. Next comment. I hate how long everything takes. My partner is in the middle of a lawsuit as well. It's been 2 years. Persevere, Oz. Godspeed. I agree with Vicarious Wrath, who wrote, while it may not be the favoured drama-filled outcome many were expecting as a quote, we're just glad to hear that it might be going towards finally ending. Fingers crossed that you can finally take back your life. This is a sentiment I can fully support, endorse, 100%. Because I do not believe that the outcome of this being stretched out over a number of years is beneficial to anyone, and would then at that point only exist solely so Blair can continue to control Oz and Felix's lives, with fear, believing that perhaps through attrition she can bully them into quitting. I don't think that's going to happen in this case though, Blair. If you're listening, I doubt, but if you are, you need to stop this. You need to, because you are now in the wrong. But I do understand that when it comes to the US, lawsuits are a bit of a pastime, a favoured one, an American tradition. And if you can stretch it out, prolong it, waste money into predatory systems, you will do it, because that's in your nature. No offence to those who are American. At the moment we're having a rather interesting time where on November 5th we in the UK burnt effigies of a guy trying to detonate Parliament, with many of us now no longer burning the effigy because we realised Guy Fawkes was right, and on November 5th you're going to be wishing you had your own Guy Fawkes.
I would also like to take this opportunity to rid my life of Blair, to move my channel back to its previous goofy content, and to, more importantly, move on from my ex whose legal charge has infested my day-to-day life, and focus on a future with my partner where we can both move forward and heal. I would, of course, also like to once again thank everyone who has been supporting me through streams, the GoFundMe, my second channel, as well as the variety of kind words that have been provided to my partner and I. And in the meantime, this channel will be returning to its regular content up until mediation.
Well, a small victory there, I guess. At time of recording, at the end of November 2024, we have no updates concerning the legal case, and it is unlikely we'll get any until further into December itself, when this is released. Sod's law, It'll happen on the day this is released because that's what usually happens with content I put out that requires an update. I will, of course, be providing one. With regards to iilluminaughtii's social media presence, there is none. And to be honest, that's possibly for the best for her. Start a new life, you can look back on those play buttons and say, I did that, and hope that anyone that sees them doesn't bother to go and look up, well, you, only to see the mountain of videos done against you, to then realise, maybe you're not, you're not. No, thank you. I'm not saying you should stay off the internet, by the way, iilluminaughtii. No, because I do believe content like yours has a place in the online space. Blair, though, Blair to many, challenges that idea, because Blair is a problem. But, like any creator, Blair should be allowed in the online space to do whatever Blair wants. And for somebody who was once pulling in over 50,000 a month making videos like what you saw earlier, it must well and truly suck to have it all and then to throw it away by being a horrible piece of poop. We here on the Omegon channel, just me and my imaginary friends, wish you well in your future endeavours, and all the luck to Oz, Felix, Wonder, and anyone else that you're lol-suiting.